We are at the Milan Dragway, and it's a gorgeous day for racing. They've already predicted the largest crowd in the history of this racing facility, and the top sportsman division of IHRA, the headliners on our Thursday Thunder coverage. If you were with us earlier this year from Thunder Valley Dragway in Bristol, Tennessee, you saw these machines, and an interesting combination they are. You've got some rail cars, you've got the stock cars, you've got the old 40 wheelies, and everything in between. In our quarterfinal runs, Mike Sage and Ron Miller. Ron Miller, there you see in rail car number 303, dialing in 7.62. If you're new to Top Sportsman Racing, the dial-in is the elapsed time that you cannot go quicker than. Mike Sage, the Clyde, Ohio driver you saw with the 770, that means he says he will go no faster down the quarter mile than 7.70 seconds. Sage and Ron Miller, and problems right off the bat for Ron Miller as Sage in the near lane just pulls away. 770 is what he predicted. He went 7.78, so that's legal, 171 miles an hour. So Ron Miller breaks, Mike Sage advances in a division that, as we said before, has all sorts of cars. The shoebox or nostalgia look. That's very popular here in the Top Sportsman division. And think, that car right there with speeds in excess of 200 miles an hour, they would have shuddered back on the roads years ago. Here are some of the earlier elimination rounds here today and the comparison. Modern or late model machines against the nostalgia look. We've seen 57 Chevys here. Tim Butler, the defending national champion, to the left of the screen, the far lane, against obviously a full-bodied sedan. That's what makes Top Sportsman as popular an event and division as it has been, and continuing talk about it becoming a pro division next year. A Formula wing on top of a Corvette, that's legal in Top Sportsman. So too is the 1989 Pontiac, if you'd like to compete that car. Boy, that brings back some memories, doesn't it? Cruising down Main Street in one of those. Basically anything goes in the body styles for Top Sportsman in IHRA competition. IHRA Top Sportsman competition allows most any make and model of car. You can have a 1989 Pontiac Grand Am or Trans Am, but when the nostalgia kick began, one man decided to take the bull by the horns, so to speak, and found this 1957 Chevy Bel Air. Based in Knoxville, Tennessee, Robby Vandergriff and his crew, really the innovators in racing the shoebox style of car.
The car has such an appeal to the baby boomer generation that I think that's what we really enjoy. I see a lot more of the people 40 to 50 years old back out at the drag racing. We're doing a lot of heads up, the type racing that they saw back in the 60s and 70s, and that kind of involvement is what we really enjoy.
Now, full-time sponsorship in the Top Sportsman ranks is unusual, but Gary Anderson, the president of Soft Seal, says let's go full bore with a sponsorship. Why?
Nostalgia, nitrous, cars are the hottest act going in drag racing today. One of the top personalities, after our assessment, happened to be Robby Vandergriff and the Thundercraft 57 Chevy. Jim Bryant fostered this idea in 1984, built the first shoebox car, along with development with one of the other innovators in this field, Charles Carpenter, and those two people basically have got us going in the nitrous cars. The current car is the only shoebox currently to go 7 seconds flat at 200 miles per hour.
Now, nostalgia is fine, but it's obviously easier to get parts for a newer car than an old Bel Air. So why opt for the old machine?
I think originally it was just a dollar and cents business decision. I was born in '57, so I'm a Camaro nut. But I really enjoy this car. I haven't ever seen so much involvement from people, and that's what really makes racing worthwhile anyway.
And judging by the crowd we've got here at Milan, Michigan today, you can't argue with that. Back to quarterfinal action, Jim Carlton and Ed Hoover squaring off. Jim Carlton from Bradenton, Florida. Hoover out of Columbia, South Carolina. The '89 Camaro and the '88 Zeekr. Z-Car, and the Camaro. You see the lights are staggered because of the different times that have been dialed in. Hoover and Carlton at the line. A lot of smoke from behind the car. Ed Hoover takes the win in the white machine. He said it was a 7.2 in the elapsed time. But watch the near lane and the problems you'll see. Smoke begins to show from behind the yellow car, and that spells the end of the afternoon right there. Dennis Fitz in the 3:04.5. He's from Panatuck, Connecticut, opposing Gene Fryer, his 1989 Chevy Beretta out of LaGrange, Georgia. The dial-ins, 750 for Fryer, 760 for Fitz, and you'll see the difference on the Christmas tree. They dial in that time difference. That's why the lights are staggered. Fryer in the black machine in the far lane. He'll hold off the challenge of Dennis Fitz. Gene Fryer will advance. He predicted a 750 dial-in. He went 7.62, 158.76 miles an hour. And again, at the chance of being repetitive, remember on that dial-in, you cannot go any faster than you predict you would go. Sam Snyder dialing in 7.28. Any quicker than that, and he does not advance. Eddie Lykins in his 32 Bantam with Pontiac power, dialing in a 755. Lykins to your right. And look at the whole shot he gets. Eddie Lykins just pulling away. Eddie Lykins will advance here on the top Sportsman. He said 755. He was over that, 7.582, 165.16 miles an hour. Eddie Lykins in his Bantam advancing here in top Sportsman. We are at the Milan Dragway in Milan, Michigan.